Great, we'll get into it straight away. Let's get into the football bit. Do you want to kick us off, James?
Where are we starting? Champions League,
Right.
Premier League?
Either or. Maybe we start Champions League,
Yeah.
and then we'll.
Yeah, so obviously we've had both legs of the eliminator now. That's all finalised. So I'd probably start us at City. Real Madrid was probably the high reputation tie. City in the first leg again looked like a team that are really struggling to close out leads. It's a game they should never ever lose. And then the second leg last night was a bit of a Real Madrid domination of old times. Like they never really looked like they were going to lose that game. And Mbappe started the game so strong that once they got that first goal, they were always going to just dominate from there on.
Team selection onwards, it felt like City were going out, to be honest.
Or almost accepting it, do you think?
I don't know about that. But there's some funny business going on. Look, Haaland probably wasn't fit. There's probably no more to it than that. They would have played him if he was. But De Bruyne, whether it's whether it's physically or otherwise, isn't trusted in big games anymore.
I had a theory on this last night. I don't know if he's got some sort of appearance bonus that they're trying their best not to pay him, because you would think that he's got 1 year left in his deal. He must be stacked up with bonuses, and they just don't want to pay. Because I would be thinking that that's Kevin De Bruyne's game all day long, and to go out and play a team with leading the line with Savinho and Marmoush, you at least look to your most experienced player and your best player for the last 10 years to help lead.
I mean, it hasn't been De Bruyne of the last 10 years, to be fair, especially this season. And, to be fair to Pep, Marmoush did score a hat-trick on the weekend. So he was probably thinking he's going into that game, rich vein of form and he might deliver. He just didn't.
It's not him or Marmoush, though, is it? Marmoush is playing up top. It's the Gundogan and
it's Gundogan for me.
Bernardo playing behind that he just lacks so much control when Gundogan's playing at the moment. I don't want to say a player's leg's gone, but the game gets so scrappy as soon as Gundogan's on the pitch.
If I guess what you're saying is if they had a decent alternative anyway, it'd be justified. De Bruyne he's not been at his best, but it's not like any of the other players that have actually performed at a high level. Like
No, that's right.
Gundogan, like you said, even playing for Barcelona last season, he struggled slightly. That's the reason why they let him go for free. And even coming to City, he's just so slow. Like, you see him running behind, you're thinking he's probably going to get there 3 years later. It's so slow, mate. But, to be fair, if they had Haaland anyway, it would have still been a tough game.
Yeah. I think the control point is a good one, but it's behind that as well from the defence. Stones, Diaz and Guardiola, I understand who they were playing against. So there is a caveat there that they were playing against Bellingham, Vinny and Mbappe. And Mbappe looked amazing, by the way. Playing against those three, they are three of the world's best players, forward players. But it looked like Stones, Diaz and Guardiola were just out of position. They weren't connected. There was no connectedness whatsoever. I give Kusanov a pass because he's new into the side, however much they spent on him, but he still gets a little bit of a pass. But at least the others have been playing together all season, but they're just not clicking at all. They don't look like a defensive line.
Yeah.
They've been so leaky all season, or not all season. They've been so leaky for the last 3 months. Well, yeah, but really mostly for the last 3 months that it showed because they've not been backing it up with the goals at the other end. So it's been costing them the leakiness for the last 3 months. And they're just not solving it at all. It looks like they're going backwards defensively rather than making any steps forward.
What can't be helping is they are chopping and changing a lot. Obviously, they brought in 4 or 5 new players, so that's going to happen with players coming in. But it does look like Pep doesn't know who his first 11 is, even if they're all fit. Like you saw for the first half of the first leg at City, they looked quite strong at the back. With Ake, Akanji was at right back, Stones was in midfield. Like they looked pretty solid at that point. Then suddenly you lose Akanji at half time. Stones goes off after 10 minutes in this game. Again, now they're going to go, what happens next week? Who are we playing? Probably throw Rico Lewis back in there, and then you've got another four that hasn't played together yet.
even that element of losing one of the back four
10 minutes
in the first 10 minutes, in the first half, any point in the first half, you lose someone from the back four, it's extremely disruptive. I think Diaz has been in and out with injuries as well, hasn't he? And Stones just is so brittle. But that leads me to like question the De Bruyne thing even more. Like, why is Stones risked when he's managing his physicality, but De Bruyne isn't when he is? So yeah, I just find it odd, but I agree with you that Kusanov deserves a pass. What's he doing? What's he doing playing then? Like, how is he in that position? And I think that comes back to the fact that their structure has broken down a little bit. Like, it's hard to know exactly what the problem is. Are they? But you do have to start to question, like, is Pep going to be able to fix it? I think he will. I'm not saying that he won't, but I think there are some niggling doubts there now whether it's gone on for too long. I think, like, if we're still in this kind of position where they look disorganised, I think that's one of the main things about them. They look really disorganised and so easy to get at. And then, like, on the ball, just like not penetrative at all. And if we're still in that situation, September, October, I think big questions will be asked. But they got time between now and then to try and sort that out.
Yeah, they'll spend another 200 million in the summer. They'll get players back, and obviously De Bruyne will be out of contract at the highest wages by Haaland, so it will free up quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They do need a bit of a clear out. Like, if you just look at some of their players yesterday,
Yeah.
we mentioned Gundogan, Bernardo Silva's sort of coming to the end. Chich, every time he's come on, has looked pretty poor for about 6 months. So yeah, there's areas that they need to get energy in, especially them in the midfield. But I was thinking, if you were Cole Palmer right now, would you be thinking that you would have got a lot of minutes in this City team had he waited 12 months? But yeah, it's not like he's not done well at Chelsea. It's just he could be playing for one of the best teams rather than
But you could argue. I mean, at Chelsea, he got the keys. He was literally hand keys to be the star player. At City, he probably would have just been just another player. And I think he excels even better when he plays as the main man, as the focal point of the attack.
He is, yeah, I agree. But he's also now suffering from being that main man when they don't play well. It's Carl Palmer's having a bad game.
Yeah, I think that's with every key player though. Like De Bruyne's gone through it. Bruno's gone through it. His first season at United, he was absolutely killing it. And following season, the minute he struggled, it was a bigger gap.
Just for context, everyone, Bruno's Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United. Who knows who Bruno is? Come on.
Please, everyone knows. You talk about Bruno football. I mean, who else? Like, who else? Who else but him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but to be fair, I say City, they're probably on the decline, which is weird to say, but I can't even think of one other world-class player when you take Haaland out the team. Like, obviously Rodri's injured, but you can't name one other world-class player within that team at this stage.
Playing well,
you would have been looking at Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Bernardo Silva's been there, Phil Foden's been there. Like, these players have all been at excellent, if not world-class conversation over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But then, obviously De Bruyne before that. But this year, Rico Lewis, he kind of had his moment of fame with City, off form, now not trusted. Like we said about Kovacic as well. Then you've got Grealish and Doku that are doing the attacking midfielder rotation, and they're not getting trusted at all. So like you said about Cole Palmer, he got given the keys, he got the trust. He's also taken them, and he plays as an individual as well. Like, his link-up play is good, but he makes things happen individually. He doesn't really need the team to be playing well, because he's a match winner in his own right as well, I think.
Yeah, but football is very cyclical, and you couldn't name a single team that hasn't had a bad season, in the last 20 years. Like, it happens to everybody. It's just because City have been that constant, thorn in the side for anybody for the last 10 years that everyone goes, City, but it's just City's turn. It happens with every squad.
I think that there's a fall off, but this is bigger than a fall off, if I'm being honest. Mate,
I don't think so. No, I don't. I honestly don't agree with that, Femi. Look, they are fourth in the table at the moment. Liverpool are running away with it, but they're fourth in the table at the minute. They've won 4 out of their last 6 games. They're going to finish probably third, if not challenge Arsenal for second. That's not like... in
Amongst
terms of teams that have won the Premier League in the last 5-10 years, like coming in the top four is not it's not a very big fall from grace.
a team that
There
spent
are other teams. There are other teams that we can be
a team
talking
that
about.
spent over 200 million is not a big.
It's irrespect. It's
Right.
irrespect because they've got the money to
You can't
spend.
say
If any other teams had that money to
yeah,
spend, they'd be spending it too.
well, you can't say, because they've had the money to spend, it's not big. It's a massive fall off. Like, we're literally forgetting this is a team that almost got knocked out. They almost didn't even make it through to the knockout stages of the Champions League. They were in the bottom half. Like, the bottom half of 28. How many teams are we talking? It was like 40 teams. And they almost
Yeah,
through.
1 year though. Arsenal four seasons ago finished 8th. Like
Are
Liverpool.
we comparing Arsenal to a team that won the treble? Come on, guys.
Yeah, but you say the team that won the treble. I know they won the treble, but maybe they're not focusing on the Champions League and they want to recover. They want to recover the Prem a little bit. Maybe they're not going to win. They're not going to win the Champions League this year. Maybe that team last night did reflect that, but
I'm not expecting them to win the Champions League, but at least make it to the next round comfortably.
Yeah, they did draw. They did draw Real Madrid.
No, I mean, at least make it to the next, like, even before making it to play in Real Madrid. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, top 8.
Yeah, top 8, top 8.
Yeah, not all clubs can do that.
Talk about Villa, mate. Oh, bloody hell.
Speaking of Champions League, well, we don't need to talk about Villa in the Champions League because they weren't in the knockouts, but another absolute corker of a game was PSV Juve last night. Is that what you thought I was going to say? You didn't think I was going to say that?
You were going Celtic.
Okay. Well, you didn't watch it, so yeah, but PSV absolutely amazing.
I saw in the report they're in for, is it PSV or another team? They're in for Ten Hag.
Any of those Dutch teams will be after him, won't they?
There's a couple
Eat it.
more.
Eat it up.
Feyenoord looking for a coach as well.
Yeah, Feyenoord just sacked their Arnie Slot replacement, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is interesting. They're the two options that Arsenal have got in the next round is PSV or Feyenoord. I'm not confident going against PSV at the minute.
I mean, I wouldn't be confident going against anybody if I were you. With the injuries you have and the forward line, you'll be playing a central midfielder at number 9 that's for the second season.
He got a brace.
It was Leicester though. You could have got a brace. It's that old question, isn't it? If you played up front for City, how many goals would you get? It's still 0.
Arsenal's set piece goals have dried up as well. We're pulling away from Champions League. Let's just finish off Champions League.
Yeah, finish it up because, well, like you say, PSV went through.
Celtic just about crashed out. They gave it a best go.
Yeah, so Bayern are through. So there's going to be some tasty ties. The draw.
The other most surprising one was the team that finished 9th, so 1 point outside of automatic qualification, lost to the team that came bottom. Atlanta lost to Club Brugge.
Oh, did you see what the manager said afterwards?
Yeah, he threw Lookman under the bus, didn't he?
There's throwing a player under the bus, and there's what he did. That was different.
It's been a year now. Lookman was so on form this time last year. Heading into the Euros, I'd called him out as a man to watch out for. And then
the Euros.
No, it wasn't. No, sorry, I was talking about Doku.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was talking about Doku. But yeah, no, heading into the Euros, like he'd been one of the form players. He'd been one of the form players in Europe. He'd looked so good. And then just over the summer, he's come back, and I don't know if he was expecting a move or something, but he's a totally different player.
He's been trying to force a move, I think.
Yeah,
after his Europa League game,
decent for the most part. But I mean, you can't say that as a manager. That your players, he's the worst you've seen taking penalties. Like he's even misses them training. Not only are you talking about the game, you're even throwing him on the bus for training sessions. We're talking about Sancho putting out a statement because Ten Hag said he didn't put in enough effort at training. Well, mate, if he heard that from what's his name, Gasperini, knows what he would have done. Like he would have gone on some next run. But I think, do you know what?
It's pure head loss from the.
Yeah, it's pure head loss.
Yeah, like he's averaging a goal every other game from the wing in Atlanta. He's got 5 Champions League goals. He's having a good season by all accounts. Just to miss the penalty when they're already 3-1 down in the game and down.
And he just come on in the second half as well.
Yeah, it was like I don't know if you saw the clip of the Atlanta captain as well. Absolutely lost his head. He like sees red mist. Like I don't know if it was a foul or something, but he tries to go for this guy, misses him, gets up, falls over, goes for him again, misses him, and eventually almost he tackles into the floor. and got a red. But yeah, it was just like a pure head loss.
And the manager didn't say anything about that. But one player who comes on in the second half, he tries to save the game, scores a goal, then misses a penalty. You come for it.
Italian football's rooted in it, though, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, that leaves. I've not seen the next round, but it leaves some good ties.
Yeah,
It's not. Yeah, it's not out yet.
No, but we know who can get who. So Paris Saint-Germain are going to have either Liverpool or Barcelona. So tasty
one.
there. Real Madrid are going to have either Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. There's another permutation there where Madrid could be playing. No, where the Atletico Madrid or Leverkusen could be playing Bayern Munich. So that's like whatever comes out of that is going to be a huge tie. On the other side of that Liverpool-Barca draw is Benfica. So they're probably going to want to both draw them rather than Paris Saint-Germain, who destroyed Brest 10-0 on aggregate and are looking pretty good.
Talk about trusting a project though with Luis Enrique. First season, poor, and now I feel like he's gotten rid of, not say gotten rid, but like the big players have actually left.
He has, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, and now he's gotten his own team. I mean, listen, United fans can take some notes from that. Honestly, getting the manager in first season, I'm almost ruling it out, and then just letting the manager build his own squad, and just see how it happens. It's a project.
Yeah, they do have. They've also got the money to spend, and that's the one team to go to in France. Like Barcola last night was incredible. Barcola looks so good. Fabian Ruiz as well, very very good.
They've got
Dembele playing as well, haven't they? He's warm, so
they've got Desire Doué coming through as well.
Doué, yeah, he's very good.
Spawning these
is that young lad still playing in midfield? What's his name? Young French fella. His name is Czech's lineup.
Did Kvaratskhelia play? Is he still on the bench?
Who am I thinking of? He wasn't in the squad. But there was like a 17-year-old central midfielder at PSG.
I just feel like it's like the Mbappe thing all over again. Any French decent youth player today just ends up in PSG's academy there.
I mean, obviously they know Brest really well. And apparently they have like a ridiculous record against Brest as well. So it wasn't Zaire Emery is who I was thinking.
Zaire Emery, yeah.
So yeah, maybe that wasn't really the acid test, but they've got that City result under their belt, and the next round they're going to have to get past a big side. So that will be when we'll know how far they've come, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And then little old Villa.
Villa.
They're going to play either Dortmund or Bruges.
It's not the worst draw ever.
I'd rather Dortmund, I think. I think you want the glamour ties now.
Well, you get
Bruges look pretty good, and I wouldn't want to get knocked out to Bruges.
Any sniffing of an away ticket for Dortmund?
No, I'd have no chance, mate.
Yeah.
Can Marlon can he play? Is he on loan?
He's a signing, isn't he?
He can play in these. No, well, he would
can't
be able to play in these rounds if Villa had registered him, but they only had 3 spots to register new players in their Champions League squad. So they went with Asensio, Rashford, and Sassy.
They've changed the rules this year. You used to be able to deregister old players and register as many new ones as you want, so long as it fit in the cap. And this year you can only do new players. Marlon's the victim of that, and the worst thing is there's a quote about him coming to play in the Champions League for Villa and then getting.
And also him being the only permanent player they signed in January.
Yeah, exactly.
He left out as well. So
yeah, and segue then into the Premier League with Villa Liverpool last night. Marlon, I thought, did he hit the outside of the post very, very late on?
He just clipped the post, didn't he? But he looked busy when he came on. He wasn't very good against Ipswich at the weekend, but he was very good against Tottenham when in the FA Cup, and then he was pretty good when he came. I think he'll be useful. I think he has some attributes that have been lacking, bit of pace, and he looks like well equipped for the Premier League, I would say, physically. That chance that he had last night where he kind of shrugged off Curtis Jones and like bundled his way into the box a little bit to get his shot off. Like, I think that's a good sign.
I'd say the game last night was a nice nostalgia throwback as much as the football was. The Total 90 ball they were using, it was like old school.
That was great,
Barclays.
wasn't it?
Yeah, old school Barclays last night.
It was.
I didn't think that Villa were going to claw back into it after the first goal. I thought it was an element of control, and suddenly there was just none. It just left them. And I think Watkins had probably one of the best games I've seen from him this season. was showing a lot of Watkins of last year. And, for Konate and Van Dijk, who are two of the best defenders in the league, he was just ghosting in between them continuously. And they just didn't know where he was at any time. Like, to win a header to score a goal like that is just damn impressive.
To lay it off to the crosser and then get on the end of the cross. Yeah, I think he's getting back to his best. I think he's been struggling a lot with injuries and niggles all season, really. And maybe that 10 days that he just had off, I think he had a little groin niggle.
Yeah.
But that probably did him a lot of good.
Also, the element of, I know some people love competition, but the element of having John Duran steaming down on him before might not have been great for Watkins. Like, he might want to be the number one guy, and what Duran just leaving has just freed him up a little bit.
We responded in a very similar way when Danny Ings was at the club as well. So I'd say I would agree with that based on the evidence available, that he prefers to know that he's first pick.
He'll get his 90 minutes if he wants.
And he'll get 90 minutes as well. I think that's a big thing with him because he backs himself physically. So if defenders are starting to tire, then I think he would back himself to get more chances later in games.
That's the thing, isn't it? That might have been the thing that put him off the old Arsenal, is he wouldn't have been guaranteed those minutes in the Arsenal team before Havertz got injured anyway. But we could probably speak about the other striker on the pitch who also got hung out to dry by his manager.
Oh dear.
Big Darwin Núñez.
He had a bad cameo.
What did Slot say?
Slot said after the game, he said something about we had enough chances to win that game, and there's someone I put. If you can look at the chances we had in the second half, there's one player in the dressing room who feels quite down. You know who it is. So he's alluded, and also Jota missed a huge chance as well. I know Darwin missed the big one at 2-2, but it wasn't just him.
It wasn't even surprising seeing him miss that.
It would be more of a surprise to see him bury it.
Yeah. I think we're at a stage now where we can say that signing hasn't worked out.
No,
it's a lot of money as well, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot of money. It just hasn't worked.
In the pre-season, I thought he looked great. He looked so sharp, and he was
streaky,
banging them in, but they're friendlies, so it doesn't count.
I've seen a lot of players, turn up pre-season, and when it comes to the real thing, it just, disappears.
The one thing that didn't make sense was to sign him for 85 million. Okay, fine. The data suggested he was the player. Just watch him for 2 years and then to turn down 70 million makes zero sense whatsoever.
I agree with that.
Who did they turn down 70 million from?
Saudi bid right at the end of the January window.
Really?
70 million, is what was reported, yeah.
What the hell were they thinking?
I don't
know.
But
was it Liverpool turning it down, or was it him saying, I don't want to go?
It was suggested it was Liverpool turning it down, but there could have been a bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think...
Are they in a little bit of trouble now? They've dropped 4 points out of a possible 6 in the last... Well, no, they've dropped 4 points out of a possible 9 in the last 3 games in the last 7 days.
I think there's two sides to look at it. I would say on the first bit, they are wobbling on the basis that you can't give Arsenal a sniff because they're the kind of team that they just need something to hold on to and they'll find the motivation out of that. The other side is, having watched Arsenal, I don't think they're going to win 14 games in a row. Like, they're going to drop points as well. Like, if you look at their run coming up, they've got some difficult away fixtures. I think they've got Forest away. I know United are a bit of a meme, but they've still got to go to United. And then they've got to go to Everton away, which has proved quite a difficult place to go recently. So it's not they're going to pick up wins every week, especially with the injuries.
Yeah, I feel like, it's been completely normal. The run of fixtures that Liverpool are on, you're not going to win them all. It's been completely normalised for the team that wins the title to get 95 points and just beat everybody home and away. But that isn't what football is. Like, you have to go to these grounds, and to come to Villa last night and not lose, I think, is a positive result. Like, I don't think they'll be
Champions League team who are top 8 in the Champions League to go to their place and not lose isn't that bad.
Yeah. Like, with new signings that have come in at Villa, like, they've got options going forward now. And I know they'll be frustrated with the chances that were missed. But ultimately, you're still coming away from a tough game with a draw, having not really lost anything. I think if they lose at City and Arsenal win at the weekend, I think, is it down to 3 points then?
Well, it could be 2 because there's 8 points ahead at the moment, but Arsenal have now got a game in hand.
Yeah. So, if that happens, then, it's squeaky bum time. But I would back Liverpool to respond. And
it is.
They're not going to continue in this run of fixtures. They're going to have easier games. They're going to win games. They're going to win more games than Arsenal, I think.
yeah, I think also somehow we've managed to think that we're in the last like 3 or 4 games to go, but there's a third of the season basically still to go. I only really acknowledged it when I looked at how I've burnt my fancy Premier League chips so early on. I haven't really got anything to bail me out anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, just a little bit less than a third of the season to go is a very, very long way.
it's easy, isn't it, to start thinking that it's set 10, 11 games to go and nothing's going to change. But look, everything changes between the last 10 to 12 games of the season. So there's still a few ups and downs for both sides. But yeah, I think it'll be a race. I think there'll be a race. I don't think Liverpool will storm it, but I would back them to be in a better position to win it than Arsenal.
Arsenal still got Liverpool third game to
They got to go
Yeah,
there.
the third to last game of the
they
season.
do. They got to go away to United. Arsenal never like going away to United. Arsenal got to go away to United as well. Pardon?
At this rate, anyone can go away to United, mate.
You
I know,
see,
13th in the league is not where you're used to being.
If you're losing to United away, I'm sorry, you don't deserve to win the league. Like at this stage, we've just been so poor. Like it's all you can eat down there. And, it's just all you can eat. You get 3 points.
get 3 points.
Everyone gets 3 points. So at this stage, honestly, that's not even I'll just dismiss that completely. But I would rather have Liverpool's last remaining fixtures than Arsenal.
Yeah, we have said they are more favourable than Arsenal's. Look, I said United were 13th because I just wanted you to say that they're actually 15th, but you didn't say it, and I really wanted you to. However, it can go like it's close between 12th and 15th. It's really close. I say that between 12th and 16th. It's really close. The interesting thing is the bottom of the table is Leicester, Ipswich, and Wolves. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's the 2 out of the 3 that's going to go down because Wolves have started playing now.
Mate, I'm worried as a United fan. I am
Say that again, Joel.
I think Wolves will be all right.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. I am very worried as a United fan. Our next couple of games, honest, no joke. Our next couple of games, we might be in trouble.
You've got
You're 12
That's not.
No, we will come back to this episode. I'm telling you right now, I am worried.
Can we go back to one of the episodes in October where you said United would challenge? Where you said, yeah, I bet you don't. Yeah.
Listen, we've lost Ahmed for the rest of the season. Our goals don't look like they're coming from anywhere. I am very worried.
I think it's fair to be worried. I think going down would be catastrophic. I don't think those teams below are going to win enough games.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to play a few of them. So a few 6 points in there.
You've got Ipswich to play, Everton, Fulham in your next 3. So it can go either way. Like you beat 3 teams in a row and suddenly you've got a bit of confidence.
I don't think
I would not fancy them going to Everton this weekend, though.
Absolutely not.
You just never know, though. I just don't know which version of United turns up sometimes.
I think there's only one version at the moment.
Terrible.
I think so, but history is always like weighing behind me, and I can't shake it. You still have that weight of previous fixtures, like bogey teams and stuff.
They're objectively bad now.
Yeah.
I do think.
Yes, I do. I would agree. I would agree with that. What's the outlook for Amarin?
Well, I think he's made them a bit worse.
Yeah.
To be honest.
He has, but it's system versus players. Like
yeah, and he did say things were always going to get worse before they get better.
Yeah, agreed.
I get all of that. I get the big picture stuff. I get the system stuff. All fine. If you're forcing a system on the players that aren't going to be there, and a lot of these players are not going to be there when United are good, then you've got to just be pragmatic and get some results.
Yeah, but they're in this point where they know they're not going to go. Look, they're not going to go down. They know they're at this point where they're not going to go down. The season's a write-off. He may as well keep working on his system. The players that do stay.
Yeah,
it's going to be some that have to stick around.
I
think that's a risk. I think it is a big risk.
It's a risk you say, personally.
Yeah.
It's a personal risk.
Because if he dishes a system, next season you're starting up. You're starting from beginning all over again. I mean, and he did want to come in at the end of the season, and they said to him, "It's now or never." And now he's come in, and he's got to start with a system.
And he made his bed. He made it very clear that he's going to play this system. It doesn't matter. But I feel like, why have you done that to yourself? You've backed yourself into a corner.
Although we said it's slightly different at Spurs, but Postecoglou said exactly the same thing. he's got players coming back and they're starting to get some results now. So they've leapt up the table now with those last 2 back-to-back wins that they've had. They've leapfrogged United anyway. Not really leapt up the table, but they've leapfrogged United, and they look like the worst is over. It looks like now. I think they've had their darkest time.
In 1 week, it's all of a sudden Tottenham are back.
They got to go to Ipswich.
They've gone from a mighty 15th to
12th.
an amazing 14th.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
You know, you kept thinking about like United next year as a rebuild. You've only got 3 players out of contract at the end of it, so you still have largely the same squad, and no one can buy these United players. Like,
I wouldn't say that, because I mean, Rashford, for example, he probably will get sold as long as he puts on a decent performance at Villa. You know, there'll be teams weighing in to buy him. Anthony,
I don't think. Well, he hasn't done so far. One start, he was invisible. He was invisible last night. He gave away the ball.
I don't think he was.
I don't think
He had poor. His touches were poor. He just looked rusty. I guess he didn't look match sharp, right?
Rashford was decent.
Rashford last night is this?
Yeah.
He was okay. He got tired. He tired badly second half.
Yeah, but I mean that's a given. You know, you haven't played for months. Anthony's, you know, he's killing it in La Liga right now.
That's an even worse thing than you think, by the way, because how are you going to recruit players when everyone's seeing what's happening to players who go to United and everyone's seeing what happens when you leave United? How do you sell that culture?
I disagree, mate. No one's thinking, "Oh, man, look what's happening to that player. I'm not going to go United."
I agree.
Nah,
I agree with Femi there.
Like football players, they're not that. They don't see the big picture. They're not. Honestly, they're not.
I think you're shopping in a different pool of fish than
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're aware of that. Like,
what top player? Yeah, what top? Like, what?
I don't think we even need top players. I just think we need players that fit the system.
Who can fit the system exactly?
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Just need players.
And start off with that. Build
if the system's going to be king, and that's what Amorim's committed to, then all of a sudden, I think you've got more options. Like, you're not going and looking for, okay, it has to be this profile of player, which I think is how Man United have been in the market previously. They've wanted to be seen to be getting the big players. I think like Sancho was about that, bringing Pogba back was about that, all that stuff.
Good.
And now they've got Amorim in place, and he's said, you know, having a system gives you that single-mindedness of these are the top players that we can get. These are the profile of like a player. And when I say profile, I mean like in terms of attributes. It becomes an attributes game and less about like what they bring to the club.
I still think that players went to Man United like they did Chelsea and like they did City because they knew they were a bigger club and they were going to win silverware. Robin van Persie did it. He was like prime example, and in fact he carried you. But like aside from, players aren't going there now thinking I'm going to go to United to win silverware. This rebuilding means you are going to have to bring in system players, and you're not going to recruit top players. You need to build up the system and create this style of new United before you get even close to challenging again, where you will then need to bring in the top players. You're not going to challenge without top players, but you need to at least get into the top 7 in the table.
So you said Robin van Persie.
Don't buy that. Yeah, it won't be linear. I think it's not obvious how United become a competitive team again, but you know they've got the resources. You know, we'll see. It
takes time. It just takes time.
Like,
Luis Enrique's done.
Well, in the short term, probably not, but they could probably generate some.
Yeah, that's true. PSR problems.
Any more football?
Don't think so. Are there any more big games? I mean, City Liverpool, we kind of touched on that, didn't we?
Yeah, 37 minutes of football. I think that's enough.
That's for anybody.
It's a chunk, isn't it? Yeah, well, we've got it's going to be it might be quite a different landscape in 7 days' time. When this time next week, Thursday next week, Liverpool will have played both City and Newcastle. So it may be a very, very different outlook. Forest have got Newcastle and Arsenal. Newcastle have got a tough week, haven't they?
The next 6 days are hugely important for lots of clubs.
Crunch time.
It is.
Can't believe how quickly this season feels like it's gone by.
Mm.
I know, but I was saying, like, that's what I still think. It feels like it has, but we've still got a third of the season left to go. But we'll quickly chomp through it with some double game weeks, I guess.
I don't think that the third of the season we might have the amount of games, but because the amount of games that get played in other competitions, so much more
Yeah,
football has been played.
yeah,
We're just about ready for our useless March international break. Is that still a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming.
Villa have only got one Premier League game in March, and they're going to have played 5 in February, I think.
Oh, ouch. So what's that?
Mental,
2
isn't it?
Champions League games and a FA Cup.
Yeah.
Big Cardiff at home. Huge.
Yes.
Cardiff away. Right. Let's do some other sports.
Okay.
To the name.